What's up, you guys? Coming back at you with another video. This time we're going to be looking at Commander 2017 card prices a week after the official release of the set. And this is mainly just going to be sort of a look back at the past few weeks here when we were doing speculations on cards and potential value of those cards and where they could see play. If we just look at the decks, it seems that the Vampiric Bloodlust deck, along with the Draconic Domination deck, are both around that $50 mark. Now keep in mind, you could obviously get these for MSRP around $35 at your local game store or other retailers that you trust to give you a good deal. I'm simply using TCG Player here as a reference to the speculated value of these decks and what sellers think they're worth and what people think they're worth. Now, it's also noteworthy here that both the Feline Ferocity deck and the Arcane Wizardry deck are sitting closer to that $40 mark. So the good news here is that all four of the decks are above MSRP of $35, which is somewhat good news. It means that all four decks were desirable for different reasons. I believe the Wizard deck was desirable because it had the most interesting legendaries of the four decks. It didn't really have the best reprints altogether or the best value or playability out of the box, but it did give you some interesting places to start. The Feline Ferocity deck had pretty decent reprints. It just didn't really have the most interesting strategies. The Vampire deck had a ton of playability out of the box and just gave a ton of awesome value for a cheaper price, in addition to the fact Teferi's Protection, which is another card I'll talk about in a minute, was also printed in that deck, and that could definitely contribute towards the expense of the deck. Now, Draconic Domination here is actually a surprise to me because I just didn't really think the deck was all that great. I mean, the mana fixing, the lands, the artifacts just didn't really offer anything spectacular that really felt like this deck was going to sort of balance out well compared to the other three decks. But the fact that it gives you two awesome legendaries in the Dragon and Ramos makes it interesting for a lot of people. And I know people just love dragons. They love foil dragons, and they definitely wanted to get their hands on these commander options. So I could definitely see why there's more hype built around the dragon deck as well. So let's actually go on to the individual card prices here. The most expensive card in the whole set is Teferi's Protection, and it only comes in the Vampiric Bloodlust deck, which is actually kind of interesting. It doesn't really synergize with vampires at all. It's just a good protection card, and it has phasing, so a lot of people are naturally drawn to it for the potential to just protect yourself for a turn cycle to where nobody can touch you, you don't lose any life, your life total can't change at all, so you're pretty much protected. And a lot of people like that, so it has a heavier price tag here at $20, which I think is absolutely ridiculous for what it does. It's good, but it's not something I would see staying at that price tag for long. So if you have one of these and you don't know what to do with it, if you feel like you want to hold on to it, you think it might go up, I am telling you right now, sell these right now. Sell high. I don't see this card staying that high at all. It's not seeing much of any legacy play, which is usually what would justify this price tag in the first place. And whatever play it does see, it is still one of those cards that a lot of people are just unsure about. It just doesn't really seem like it would do enough for 3 mana in legacy. But you have just a lot of cards that do similar things. Like we have other fog effects that pretty much do a similar thing and they serve the same exact purpose. They may not protect you from as many things, but they serve essentially the same purpose, and a lot of those fog effects are a lot cheaper as well, and even they don't see a ton of play in legacy, so definitely sell this card if you have it. Then we have the most expensive legendary in the set, Kess Dissident Mage, primarily because out of the box she probably has the easiest to understand strategy of any of the commanders. Essentially all you're doing here is just playing a ton of instants and sorceries. Not only that, but she seems to be the most powerful commander option to go with just because of how easy it is to win with storm builds and how easy it is to kind of go off in some sort of strategy where you wheel and deal your way to a victory, either with a storm card or some burn strategy or Laboratory Maniac. And there are so many options you can do with that, and just being able to recast instants and sorceries from your graveyard makes her a desirable commander option. So no surprise she is sitting at around $12, which brings us to the next legendary here, which is Ramos Dragon Engine, sitting around $10. And a lot of this is just speculation. I feel that there are a lot of people that want to play with a Super Friends deck using Ramos as a 5-color commander, which is interesting. You have a lot more mana generation because of him. And you just have decks that love counters and +1/+1 counters that synergize, playing cards like Vroll of the Hulklade and doubling season effects, so you can take advantage of that. So there are a lot of options with this guy, and I think he makes a pretty decent and flexible commander option. And then we have the Dragon, which is about the only other commander option from this set that is above $5. He is around $8, and it's no surprise. A lot of people love dragons, and seeing as they are the focal point of the whole deck, the deck doesn't give you a ton of reprints. You're basically just getting the Dragon to work with and Ramos, and the rest of the deck, you're just trying to find a 99 that works best for you. So overall, I would say that speculation from a week ago or 2 weeks ago, looking at prices and seeing how certain people ranked the deck or how many people thought certain decks would be good, and a lot of people were looking at the Dragon deck and saying, oh, it's going to be the most expensive one because so many people just want to play with dragons, and there's a lot of new players that are going to be attracted to dragons coming into this format, which I can understand that. But now, looking at the Vampire deck, it is pretty easy to tell why that is the most expensive of the 4 decks, or the most sought after. I just went to an LGS yesterday and literally just sold out of Vampire decks. They had plenty of the other 3 decks, but they just sold out of the Vampire deck. And I went to other locals. I went to my other locals. He sold out of Vampire decks pretty quickly as well. So there are a ton of people just wanting to play this deck because it's super aggressive. So there's no doubt about it. Let me know where you think these prices are going to end up like a month from now. Who knows? Maybe a year from now. Anyway, guys, Void here signing off. You all have a wonderful day.